in one of the finest games ever made, Okami for the PlayStation 2, released in 2006. The main plot is large and sprawling, and packed to the brim with secondary assignments, as well as with a ton of other insignificant side quests. This masterpiece was designed by Hideki Kamiya. No, not that one. That's Masahiro Sakurai from Kirby and Smash. Wrong Hideki, that's the one from Shin Kamen Rider. Much better. This man gave us Resident Evil, Bayonetta, Beautiful Joe, and some of these works were conducted with Shinji Mikami, like said Resident Evil and the Devil May Cry series. This one also gave us Killer 7, but no spoilers yet. Anyway, the gist of it all is that a terrible evil that was sealed away 100 years ago by the effort of two heroes was set free by the egotism and idiocy of a coward. And that set the entire fantasy land of Japan in a very much palpable darkness. Darkness which deprived of life all that it touched. People turned to stone, rivers and ponds dried, flora withered, and there is no one but us to make right what's wrong. The game is rich and deep, with an art direction never seen before, and I dare say after. We control Amaterasu, goddess of the sun, embodied as a reincarnation of Shiranui, the white wolf that helped the hero Nagi seal Orochimaru away. Okami is a deep dive into Japanese culture and myth, only equaled nearly 15 years after by Ghost of Tsushima. Exploration is wonderful, there's detail in everything, and figures of legend spring forth all over the place. Each time you lend a hand or a paw, you may or may not be rewarded, but the immense majority of interactions reward you with praise. Praise is the currency that allows us to level up. You may be able to earn praise through the big moments, but it is in the rest of interactions where it shines. You see, every time you lend a hand, every time you make it better for someone else, you grow stronger. No matter if it is the +1 praise point that you earn by making a withered tree blossom or by feeding a critter. All over the land you may come across these trees or those small animals, and for sure, they could absolutely use your help. How dark the world is. What is the real purpose of it all? Day after day, nothing seems to change, yet nothing remains the same. Day in, day out, one day more, one day less. The boring repetition of 9 to 5s give the comfort that all is enough. In the numb desire to thrive by toiling away without disturbance, we do our part by not bothering others. It is simple, and still, it works. Well, kind of. Then, sometimes, someone comes along and decides to take a bigger bite. Some out of malice, some out of sheer egotism, and some out of pure idiocy. In any case, a strand of evil manifests. That strand, despite being thin, small, barely perceptible, is infinitely dense, incredibly polluting, and worst of it all, its rot can instill that same hunger in many hearts. A little pull of that strand is more than enough to tear the whole seam. What does it take to mend that tear? It takes something similar but different. To mend that pull, we need thread, one of goodness, and no little bit. How many strands similar to the evil one are needed to make up a single inch of good thread? How many of those inches are we to use in order to keep the piece from being torn apart? The larger the hole, the larger the mend. We can either weave this thread on our own, or, if the efforts are put together, alongside the people. And that thread comes from the heart. But, just as importantly, we ourselves, our actions, our hands, and will become the needle that sets to fix the mistake. I am not one to lecture people, and this whole thing can turn into an ethics piece so fast that I want to avoid that. Still, I want to bring up the shopping cart theory. The concept came around 40 years ago, and it proposes the shopping cart as a simple standard for the average person to weigh whether they are able to do objectively good, in spite of there being no one around to either judge, punish, or appraise you for doing it. Granted, some phrasing of it may sound excessive, yet the point is the same. What's keeping you from doing good? On a completely less serious tone, plots in games move because we are the main guy, or are moved in their own by forces beyond our control. Simple, active-passive protagonist dealings. Many plots have us interacting with people that are vital for the story, and some other that are there just for filler or some side questing. Anyhow, they all need our help. The ones that move the thing forward might help us help those others in need, no matter if that gives us very little in return. Will you not give hope to Father Gascoigne's daughter? Would you not help Rex retrieve his family armor?
You're trying to make me cry, Shepard. I've got some unfinished business with my family, but that's all.
What kind of business?
Before I left, I made an oath to my father's father. I swore to recover my family's battle armor. It was taken from him after the uprising.
Surely, many would have faced the young girl's side quest differently, and I'd agree not talking to her was a happy ending on its own. Going out of your way to help those fighting along your path just to make theirs a little more bright and worth it, to me, seems reasonable.
All right, Shepard, you've made your point. I don't like this, but I trust you enough to follow your lead. Just one thing. When we find Saren, I want his head.
Back to the beginning of this video's theme. We are summoned from beyond to help the world back on its feet, so anything stemming from the main questline is our duty, but on the sides, there are countless people and creatures in need of help, waiting for our divine intervention. Yes, I am being kind of contrived because in fact, everyone is in need of your help. After all, we are dealing with a game. The whole thing that got me to make this video was the fact that you go around doing all of these things, not because it makes you stronger or for the plot, but because of the delight it ensues from the act of helping itself. It feels more personal. it feels like we are part of it. Some people ask for help openly, some others, you give them a little nudge. Granted, there are many that probably don't deserve any, but we are not to judge that. Even those corrupted needed release, no matter if they take notice of their corruption or not. What makes Okami a beautiful experience is not only the plot or the looks, but the immense variety it gives us. Little one-time minigames, the way places change during the night and day cycles, and the ton of secrets it has. What I find the most alluring is that it's a change of pace. We are being surrounded by so many live services, and the urgency to consume is so big and dire that people die to play the latest big thing, rushing the completion just for views, and we are starting to see a return to basics. Games where the story is king, where the pacing is slow. Of course, Black Myth Wukong is a new Soulsborne, but what makes it fresh is that the setting and the details are completely new. Of course, Space Marine 2 is slow and dumb. Sometimes you don't need to be cranking 360 no-scopes to have fun. I also know I tend to wander and trail off when making these videos, but there's so many things I feel that I want to get them all out together at once. I like when stories are not about ourselves, when we are part of something bigger. In the case of Okami, we are the something bigger, for we are the goddess of the sun, but it is seen that without the love of the people that roam the land, even the gods grow weak. In the direst of moments, Sakuya summoned us with the last strength she could muster while holding Kamiki village as much as she could. From town to town, from the deep seas to the heavens above, evil needs to be corrected. When people see us go by, they just see a wolf or a dog, but once we are through, they perceive a miracle unfold before them, and to us, that is just enough. Not many things to add in this one. There's another one on the works. I have been thinking about creating a new series where I would read scary stories or creepypastas or something of the like. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments below. Just wanted to say that whenever I work on this, I am excited. Editing is fun, and it really makes me jump when I get a notification that somebody commented something, and I feel a little pride, as well as feeling this really personal. After all, I do this out of my own volition, but I do it for you. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like, a comment, or even subscribing. You don't know how powerful your support may be. Thanks for watching.